The debate about whether AI should enter Indian courts is already moot. It is here. What remains is a harder question. How should the Indian legal system respond? Across India, the answer has been scattered, ranging from bureaucratic paranoia to casual over reliance. There is a common anxiety that unites most responses, the fear that AI will introduce errors into judicial work. In this week's column of Counting on Law, we argue that this anxiety is wildly disproportionate. The court's approach to modernization should not be conditional on their ability to keep up with technology, because the Indian legal system has never claimed perfection. Instead, it has always relied on inbuilt mechanisms of accountability and self correction, and these mechanisms shouldn't break just because the tools change. The institutional embrace of technology and AI is a structural one. SUAS, the Supreme Court's translation engine, has rendered over 36,000 judgments into 19 Indian languages. Teres provides real-time AI transcription for constitution bench hearings, and the Kerala High Court uses a transcription tool built by Adalat.ai for all witness depositions across all its subordinate courts. The government's own eCourts Pro Phase 3 project commits about 7,000 crores to judicial modernization, with about 50 crores or so earmarked for AI and emerging technologies. In light of this, let's look at the response across different courts. Just weeks ago, the Supreme Court admonished lawyers for citing hallucinated cases. Kerala High Court's policy regarding use of artificial intelligence tools in district judiciary gets the most important thing right. Responsibility for orders rests with the judge. But it goes overboard then on guardrails, mandating a detailed audit of all instances where AI is used, all steps to be recorded in a ledger, and all errors reported to the principal district judge. The Supreme Court's white paper on AI in the judiciary, published in November 2025, is a little more considered. It says AI will serve the ends of justice, not define them. Judges must remain the ultimate decision makers. The principle of human oversight is foundational, but even here, there is the strong instinct to layer procedural requirements on top of it. There is a common thread that connects most of these responses, that which we call the fear of the machine. The audit trails, the ledgers, all betray the same concern that somehow this new technology will corrupt the judicial process in ways that existing tools do not. The fear may not be imaginary. Just recently, the High Court of Manipur, in a case about the role of village defense forces, felt compelled to use ChatGPT to research the body's limits and functions. One might think a High Court had better resources than a free chatbot. When a constitutional court reaches for a consumer AI product as a research tool, the instinct to regulate makes sense. But how should courts regulate this use of AI? We argue that the answer lies in strengthening existing institutional capacity regarding outcomes and not layer on more onerous procedural oversight on the process. Justice Robert Jackson of the United States Supreme Court put it best in Brown v. Allen. We are not final because we are infallible, but we are infallible only because we are final. The legal system has never claimed perfection. It has always claimed only finality, and finality is legitimate only because the humans exercising it can be held accountable. The Indian judiciary knows this from experience. In K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India, a 9-judge bench explicitly overruled the emergency ERA decision in ADM Jabalpur versus Shivkant Shukla, declaring the majority opinions seriously flawed. It took 41 years, but the system corrected itself. If the Supreme Court of this country can err gravely enough to deny habeas corpus to an entire nation, but the system's own processes self-corrected, then we argue that the anxiety about an AI tool introducing a citation error is wildly disproportionate. Hallucination is not really all that novel. To assume that courts weigh every word committed to paper is to ignore reality. The Indian judiciary has long had a Control+C problem. Legal commentators have noted that judges frequently copy-paste large sections of text from previous orders. In our own previous analysis in the Counting of Law series, we have scoured through hundreds of orders and judgments. Most feel templatized. The system has never demanded originality. All it demands is judicial mind. The AI hallucination is not really a new kind of threat either. Case search engines, third-party databases, printed reporters have always carried inclusion errors, false citations, and wrongly indexed matters. Nobody has explained why a mistake by a careless first-year LLB graduate in their clerkship is less egregious than one made by an LLM. Technology might make it faster or easier to make mistakes, but whether the perpetrator uses neurons or neural networks shouldn't really matter. Justice Anand Venkatesh of the Madras High Court has been ahead of the curve on this. Earlier this month, he embarked on a careful study of legal tech products, harnessing AI. The resulting order permitted a product called Superlaw Courts to support the court in record keeping, document management, and search in an arbitration matter. Legal judgment, it said, must stay with a human decision maker. That conclusion is exactly right. But the method of reasoning reveals a deeper instinct worth questioning. Justice Venkatesh applies a human process comparison methodology, breaking the AI's function down to its components and comparing them to human associates' workflow. When explaining retrieval augmented generation or RAG, he likens chunking to preparing reliable extracts from a brief. This explanation might reassure people who worry that this new technology threatens the sanctity of court processes. But is the anthropomorphization really necessary? It concedes a frame where AI must justify itself by analogy to human work. The better question to ask is whether the officer of the court who uses the tool can stand behind the work product. We don't ask how a lawyer's intern searched for a precedent. We only ask whether the precedent is sound and whether the lawyer takes responsibility for citing it. Singapore offers a cleaner model. The Supreme Court of Singapore's 2024 guidelines on generative AI declared the court neutral on adoption. No approved lists, no audit ledgers. The court simply reasserted that responsibility for diligence lies with the users. Ensure accuracy, ensure relevance, comply with intellectual property rules. Lawyers who can't explain parts drafted with AI assistance face costs, disregarded documents, or disciplinary action. The focus is on the work, not how it was produced. Minimal fuss, clear principles, fair warning. That's a sharp contrast to the Indian instinct to smother responsible usage with procedure. If Indian courts wish to modernize, they must look past the fear of the machine and focus on the institution behind it. We choose the law. We choose the humans who administer it. We accept that those humans are fallible. And exactly for that reason, we've built a system that accounts for fallibility through appeals, review, scrutiny, and accountability. No tool should change this compact.